The show, guys. Trump is literally about to make one of the biggest moves ever, and he's already done step one. So Trump is working to essentially do away with the 14th Amendment and redo it for the sake of keeping America safe and making sure that we don't have people that are constantly gaming the immigration system. And when it comes to the birthright citizenship, and when it comes to actually what it means to be American. And so right now, he has signed a new order and has revoked the temporary legal status of approximately 530,000 individuals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela that Biden gave them temporary legal status. Maybe so they could vote. This was granted under the humanitarian parole program, which Trump has now revoked. So this policy change is taking effect April 24th, but Trump said it's more than that. We have to make the 14th Amendment clear, concise, and able to fully support an America First agenda. Let me know your thoughts on that, because they say just because you're born here doesn't technically make you a citizen, because if you're illegal and you're born here, by the standards now, you're a citizen. But Trump says we have to change all of this. We also have where a federal judge, another injunction has just happened moments ago against Trump, has now ordered the Federal Bureau of Prisons to send 2 male prisoners back to women's prisons in a preliminary injunction against Trump's executive order preventing men from being housed with women. Because what we're finding out is when these men say they're whatever and go to these other prisons that are for women, they're starting to get women pregnant. And it's not by consent. So that just happened moments ago. It's literally ridiculous. But on the flip side of that, Maine has folded and agreed to comply with President Trump's executive order to keep transgender athletes out of women's sports. Why? Because when you're talking about 40, 50, 60 million dollars in aid, then money talks, and they want that money. So now they're going to do the executive order that Trump put out there. And on top of that, guys, I got something special for you, because AOC and Bernie Sanders are on this crusade across America to try to win back people. You're talking about to the Democratic Party, the 2 most progressive people in the party are going to try to win it back. Makes no sense, but she had one of the worst word salads in her speech today. It is going to make you laugh so hard, guys. This was probably even worse than Kamala Harris. But we got a ton of breaking news to get into tonight, guys. Things are changing. I want to say thank you to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers, guys. We appreciate you so much. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. I look over here because that's where the settings and stuff are at. But want to say thank you to everybody that's given a super chat donation, guys. We're so grateful for tomorrow's donation. It's going to be a big one. And it's all because of you and partnering with you that you get to see me live on stream donate thousands of dollars to these charities. And we're so grateful for your support. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor and hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much, guys. It's free, but the algorithms for YouTube really love it. So that's why we ask you to do it. So please forgive us whenever we add. It may seem like we're asking a lot, but we really want to get the truth out there. But we love you, appreciate you guys. We got a ton of breaking news to jump into tonight because Trump is not playing around. Check this out.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But with Democrats, their delusion runs so deep, insanity might be too kind of a word for them. I mean, NBC News now reporting today that the Bidens want back in. Can you believe it? Joe and Jill are now offering to help with fundraising and to help rebuild the Democrat Party. Does AutoPen not realize that he spearheaded the destruction of the Democrat Party? I mean, of course the guy doesn't. I mean, Democrats paraded this puppet before the world to the point of elder abuse, right? And also, let's not forget various records, including last-minute pardons, were all signed by an AutoPen. I mean, we still don't know who was running the White House the last 4 years. Yet Democrats like Chuck Schumer, they continue to gaslight us and lie straight to our faces.
Our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time.
Progressive judges. Did you hear what he just said there? Okay, the typical President Trump is a threat to democracy. But you heard him just admit it right there that Democrats purposely put in these progressive judges to usurp the power of the presidency. I mean, one of those politically appointed judges, that guy right there, James Boasberg, who of course is an Obama appointee. Boasberg, he had the audacity yesterday to scold the Department of Justice for failing to give him the information he demanded in order to allow the deportation of violent Tren de Aragua gang members to El Salvador's infamous mega prison, aka Hell on Earth. I mean, the New York Times now reporting that a hearing is set to be held today to determine whether the Trump administration violated Boasberg's initial instructions to turn those planes around. Give me a break. The goal of that guy. Trump then posted to Truth Social about Boasberg, writing in part, quote, "He is a local unknown judge, a grandstander looking for publicity, and it cannot be for any other reason because his rulings are so ridiculous and inept. Save America." Activist judges are determined to stop Trump's effort to save America. I mean, we're only 2 months in, and already Trump has been hit with more federal injunctions than Obama's and Biden's entire terms. I mean, think about it. We have a federal...
Guys, look how the number, it's just going to keep getting bigger. And this blows my mind. If America doesn't see this, this is full transparency. It is completely one-sided. We've got a big, big problem in our judicial system.
Judge Boasberg fighting for the rights of illegal alien rapists and killers. I mean, because it's Trump who is deporting them. That's why. Trump derangement syndrome. It overrides basic common sense. TDS runs so deep that Minnesota Republicans have now introduced a bill that would classify it as a mental illness. The bill defines TDS as, quote, the acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons that is in reaction to the policies and presidencies of President Donald J. Trump.
Wow.
I mean, how else do you explain Americans resorting to domestic terrorist acts? That's what this is, all across the country against a car. Because Elon Musk is the CEO of that company, founded it, and because he happens to be working with President Trump. The DOJ now announcing it has charged 3 suspects in separate Molotov cocktails on Tesla properties. Each of the suspects now facing 20 years in prison. By the way, are you surprised one of them has blue hair and looks trans? I mean, also not shocking. Democrats have yet to condemn any of this violence.
Nothing.
Instead, they continue to stoke it.
This shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people, it was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent, he's a thief, he's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Wow, don't trust Elon. By the way, that guy, that's former New York Congressman Jamal Bowman. Remember, he was the guy who pulled a fire alarm to delay a House vote and then lied about it. If I was Elon, I'd sue him for that Nazi comment. Bowman is also BFFs with AOC. That was them on their summer trying to get him reelected. He was my actual congressman. Thank God he didn't get reelected. And now AOC is on a nationwide tour with none other than Bernie Sanders. Thousands of people are apparently attending the Fight the Oligarchy rallies. You believe that? That was in Tempe, Arizona. Look at this. Look at the crowds of people packing the arena there. I don't even understand what this is about. Fight the Oligarchy. And you see her out on the stage. They're estimating it's about 15,000 people. And then when the video pans over a little bit, you're going to see it there. A sign that says, look at that. Fear the fork. What is wrong with these people? Can somebody explain this to me? Let's take a look at the promotion poster for this. It reads, fighting oligarchy, and then just below it goes, where we go from here. there is just so much irony in these performances because that's what AOC is doing and Bernie. And even Bowman, they're performances because most of the oligarchs are Democrats. It's a well-known fact that Kamala had way more billionaires backing her than Trump did.
Yes.
Also, billionaires have been the main bankrollers for Democrat campaigns for years now. And hello, it was the oligarchs who got Biden kicked out of the race when they announced they wouldn't donate to him anymore, forcing Nancy Pelosi to stage that coup against Joe. When will Democrats ever learn? 80 million Americans, we voted for all of this.
Yes.
We voted for a smaller government. We voted for less fraud and waste. We voted for world peace. And we voted to restore national security by having a secure border.
Our police departments in South Florida are signing cooperation agreements to be deputized as ICE.
Yes.
When I keep thinking, okay,
this is going to be
this is going to change the way folks, they're gleeful. Everybody I know who voted for Trump is gleeful and supportive of everything he's doing.
Heck yeah, we're gleeful. Woo, woo. Even with NBC News, they came out with a new poll revealing more registered voters now feel the country is heading in the right direction than at any point since early 2004. I mean, that's over 20 years. Folks, you know what this is called? Winning.
Winning, baby. That's what it's called. Trump just made another thing. Guys, if you appreciate this winning, guys, hit that thumbs up like button. Let's go. Trump has just now revoked the legal status of 530,000 Haitians, Cubans, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans imported by Joe Biden administration by plane on the taxpayer dollars to turn them into voters, giving them temporary citizen status. Boom. Get them out of here. They weren't supposed to be here in the first place. I am not sorry about what I'm saying because remember, this was wrong to begin with. The intentions were to get more voters by giving them temporary legal status, and that is not American, that's not right, and that's not fair, and they've been caught. Sherry Garcia, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. She said PTSD, President Trump stress disorder. It 100% is, and they can keep getting more of it. Because look at this, guys. So today, whenever she was giving this speech during the Fight Oligarchy, our friend AOC said, we need a Democratic Party that farts harder for us. Yes, that literally is what she said. Listen to this.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us.
What was she thinking about? Guys, this is about as bad as word salad as Kamala Harris was. Maybe even a little bit worse. But this is the thing that just shows you more of this is coming, and bring it on. Because people see past the word salads and they're tired of it. Check this out.
All right, moderates, watch out. The socialists are stepping up to fill the leadership vacuum in the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders and AOC are hitting the road with their Fighting Oligarchy tour in red and blue states, taking aim at the usual suspects like Elon Musk and President Trump. But they are also throwing some shade at their own. Watch.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too. I want you to look at every level of office around and support Democrats who fight, because those are the ones who can actually beat Republicans.
You got guys playing defense, but they also play offense. Our offense is to remind us all and every person in this country, we are the wealthiest nation in the history of this world.
But the moderate wing of the party is doing their best to counter AOC. Democratic Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin fired this shot. Listen closely.
I can't just chain myself to the White House and become an activist full time, because you and others here are going to call me for things that you need. All of those things require me to be more than just an AOC. Everyone you mentioned has a lot of words. But what have they actually done to change the situation with Donald Trump?
But if all else fails, the Bidens are looking for a comeback. NBC News reporting that former President Joe Biden and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, have been putting out some feelers to Democratic leaders and saying, look, we can help you. We can do fundraising. We can campaign. We can do anything else necessary to help Democrats recover the lost Janine. It is down to about 27%. So they've been in Delaware, I guess, for a little while. He's going back and forth to Washington, D.C. on the Amtrak, I know. But they're starting to put out some feelers. You guys, I think you need some help from the two of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if no one calls, and I don't think they should sit and wait beside their phone. Look, Joe Biden and Jill, I think in the end, the mess that happened with Kamala Harris is going to be attributed to Joe Biden and to Jill, okay? But having said all that, I really want to talk about the message. They want someone who fights. They want someone who does actions, according to Elise Slotkin, actions over words. And, does that mean that you don't talk about things that, you get out there and you torch things or you burn things up? I'm not sure what that means. And plus, I think it's kind of crazy that they want to fight an oligarchy when I think it was Fetterman the other day said, I don't think the Democrats should use the word oligarchy. The American people don't know what it means. And I don't think they know what it means, especially Bernie Sanders, because he's a socialist. And the truth is that, socialists control pretty much every aspect of your society, and they want to fight the oligarchy. I mean, I don't quite get it all. But this is a whole bunch of nothing from a whole bunch of nobodies, because Donald Trump broke the Democrat Party. They don't have a message. They don't have a messenger. They just want to fight. They don't know what they want to fight about. Half of them are happy about what's going on with the torching of the Tesla vehicles. Nobody's coming out against it other than Ro Khanna and maybe Bernie Sanders. They're in the middle of an abyss. They don't know what to do. And, I think in the end, the party is going to be split. They say they're like the Republican Party when the Tea Party came in and kind of fractured it. They've got like two Tea Parties. They don't know who they are or what they're about. And, final note, if AOC wants to say they're the party of the working Americans, don't let her forget that she wouldn't allow Amazon to come to Queens, that there were 25,000 jobs that would have been available, $4 billion in lost wages, $4 billion in additional business to local businesses. Don't even use the word AOC.
Tea Party, Jesse. When I think of the Tea Party, I think about smaller government and less regulation and lower taxes that pushed the Republican Party back to those roots. I'm trying to figure out, do they want more government, larger government? Is that where a fringe Tea Party would push the Democrat Party at this point?
Well, we know what they want, and no one wants it. It was DEI, it was trans surgeries, it was cash bail. It's been rejected, and it's all based in cities. The Tea Party was a national movement. It was intergenerational, and they won massive midterms. And it wasn't just in the House. They put Tea Party people in the Senate, and Trump came out of the Tea Party. So I don't see a Tea Party yet, but it could be fun to watch. I'm afraid what it's going to look like if Democrats fight harder. They shot him.
Yeah.
They fined him $500 million. They tried to strip him off the ballot. They impeached him twice. They had a guy with a gun show up to a Supreme Court justice's house after they accused him of rape. I mean, literally, what more can you guys do? The only thing that you haven't done is shut down the government. Be my guest. Because then we'll find out who is really an essential worker. But you're right, Jessica. You actually define fighting better than I've ever heard anybody. Because right now, your party thinks fighting is like throwing a cane at Trump. That's not fighting. With a little sign, that's nothing. I think what you guys need to do is recruit, raise money, and with the midterms. Great. And then you can start doing things.
We had our strongest grassroots fundraising month, actually.
I'm so excited for you.
Well, maybe Kamala will come in and
fighting the oligarchy, Greg.
Yeah.
Is that resonating
how
with
long
Americans?
Are we going to ignore the big story here? AOC saying fart. I mean, come on. You have me on this show and you don't even bring up the fact that she says fart? That's from hanging around Bernie, you know what I mean? Ooh, baby.
That's from the man with the poop
message
mug.
truly stinks. But yeah, Bernie and AOC, do you think they're banging? the wrong drum here. No, the message. For example, I've never actually said the word oligarchy out loud until today. Oligarchy. What's next? Plutocracies? Shall we target plutocracies on behalf of the proletariat? I mean, that might make the purple man buns in the quad swoon, but it ain't gonna fly in the living room, kiddos. When they talk about fighting, they're saying they need a Trump. That's what they're saying. But I'm gonna define what an oligarchy is and where you can find one. It means government by the few. So the only way an oligarchy can exist is if it's non-transparent. But what's the most transparent government in history? The one that shows you where your money's being spent, the one that releases files on assassinations, the one.
Guys, just right there. Just if that's the only thing that Trump can do in his presidency is expose where the money is going, this will change government forever. And if you appreciate that, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, that is so important. Just tell us where our money is going so then we can hold people accountable.
Answers every single question you ask them. The one that tweets or posts every single action and tells you ahead of time what they're going to do. If Trump, the administration is an oligarchy, it's the worst one ever. And you know what? If it was, he would show you how it's done. He'd go, oh, yeah, this is an oligarchy. Come on over here. I'll show you. But so where do you find real oligarchies? They're at about 3 or 4 places. Unions. They're oligarchies. They maintain the illusion of democracy and collectivism, but it's just elites up top who run and maintain total control because that's the survival. A union is now like a political party. Biden's White House, complete non-transparency. We still don't know who ran the country. What's the trademark of oligarchy? Secrecy. The White House was covered up. It's the only president we've ever had that was a cutout. You know, nameless few directing it. That's an oligarchy. Then you look at Hollywood. You look at the legacy media. They're all oligarchies. They're run by the few. And you know who's outside the oligarchy? The right. We're not in it.
I think they are.
Guys, let me tell you this. 100% that people are seeing that common sense is on the right side. And that's where they should be at. Thank you so much, Sherry Garcia, for the super chat. Let's go. Said oligarchy is the 19th century term, a small group of people having control of a country, organization, or institution. 100%. And that's what the Democrats have been in the deep state. Because I'm telling you this, guys, it's going to be a fight. Listen to this. This is from the people of Boston, the mayor of Boston.
And I want all of you just to know exactly where we are as far as our neighbors go. Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for undocumented immigrants, for our trans community. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, Minneapolis is a place where you should be proud to call home. And I want all—
You hear that? I hope that they hold his butt accountable and this mayor goes to jail for saying they're literally going to harbor illegal immigrants that Trump and them are trying to deport. They're here illegally. They broke the law. They're not even supposed to be here. And guys, there's another big story right now that's going on with Elon Musk, the Pentagon, him supposedly getting all the news about the China war and all this stuff. And I want you to hear from the man himself, Steve Bannon, over what the heck is actually going on, because there's so much propaganda out there right now. Check this out.
Okay, let's have an adult conversation. Everybody knows I've got big differences with Elon Musk. The 2 biggest issues I have with Elon Musk is relationship with the Chinese Communist Party. The second one's transhumanism. I guess the third one's being an oligarch. But I have said from the beginning and had his back on this Doge situation because it's very important that we get to the bottom of exactly waste, fraud, and abuse so we can then also go through programmatically and start to cut the budget. We have a crisis and people just want to be diverted to all this kind of sidebar stuff. It is impossible that Pete Hegseth and the Joint Chiefs of Staff scheduled a meeting to show Elon Musk, who doesn't have the security clearance for it, and quite frankly does have business relations with the CCP. He's the first to admit that. He praises them all the time. The war plans, the operational plans in a classified basis, in a classified space in the Pentagon without running it past President Trump. The thing is phony. It's a fake news, a fake story. It didn't happen. What they were doing, and remember, on this show, we're the ones that were yelling and screaming and banging on the table, cross the Potomac, cross the Potomac, cross the Potomac. The day was kind of the initial day over there. They've been over there for 4.5 weeks. As I'm going to discuss tomorrow when Philip Patrick joins me, the buried lead on the Federal Reserve's announcement this week, the headline they all ran, well, no rate cut, and we're going to have 2 rate cuts going downrange. They didn't pick up, or nobody emphasized the fact that Fed put out new numbers on our economic growth, on GDP growth, and that number was 1.7%. Let me be brutally frank, the model doesn't work at 1.7% growth. It doesn't. If you back out massive government spending, we're already in a recession. The only reason this thing keeps going, and this is what President Trump's trying to do. Oh, by the way, did I mention that Johnson & Johnson announced today, was it $55 billion of advanced plant and equipment being brought to the United States for manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, starting in North Carolina? You got Honda in Indiana, you got Johnson & Johnson, North Carolina, you have Taiwan Semiconductor, $100 billion in Arizona. NVIDIA just says, they hundreds of billions of dollars of essentially design, because they don't really manufacture that much. Hundreds of billions of dollars here in the United States. Apple at $500 billion. These are not, it's not UAE announcing they're going to do all this and put, a day $1 trillion, right? Or the SoftBank saying $500 billion, or the Saudis say they're going to put $1 trillion in. That all may or may not happen. These are companies that are telling their shareholders, making public announcements and coming to the White House and saying it. These are people that are going on the hook as publicly traded companies. Here's what we're doing. And they're bringing manufacturing jobs back. But what President Trump inherited, and I don't think if I can make one observation about the comms team, I don't think they've done an adequate job of presenting the awful situation that Bessent and President Trump were handed on the economy. But it's out there as of yesterday or the other day when he says 1.7% growth. The model doesn't work like that. So what does that mean? It means we have to stop the cosplay when it comes to cutting spending. You've got a couple of ways you're going to close this gap. And if you don't close the gap of $2 trillion every year, and that's what's baked in right now, folks, either through growth, you get higher revenue, because in the existing tax structure you have, it just mathematically, the denominator goes up, you get higher growth, you get more revenue, number one. Right? Number two, tariffs or external revenue starts to generate additional revenue. Or the companies that move back here, although it's going to be longer term, they generate product manufacturing, more tax revenue. So you're getting tax revenue either through tariffs externally, or companies are moving back, higher taxes, or the existing tax structure you have higher growth, you get more cash. But then at the end of the day, you have still two things to go. And right now, if you look at those, you still have a gap. What do? Well, you can raise taxes. You just can. It's possible. It's nothing. It's not the second law of thermodynamics that you can't. Now, certainly, you can't raise them on the working class or the middle class, because, you have 9 million people that have 2 jobs.
Wow.
What, 6-7% of the workforce, 2 jobs. People are working nonstop. They're working like crazy. Credit card debt's exploding. People can't make ends meet. The other is, wait for it, you can cut spending.
Ooh.
And right now, the appropriations process is going to start. It's got to be done. All these single subject appropriations bills, which we kick the can down the road for years, have to be done in the next several weeks. That's going to be programmatically. But the waste, fraud, and abuse part has to be now. You just heard Andy Biggs on here. He just gave you a big scoop. What's the big scoop in the first hour? That OMB in the next couple of weeks is going to start with the impoundments. Massey sends out a thing today, kind of ha. I told you if you vote for the CR, Department of Education on there, we got it, Congressman Massey, and we do appreciate the fact you stuck to your principles, and I agree. It's going to happen. This is why Russ Vogt and these guys are going to start coming back with impoundments, and we're going to have a big old fight. It's going to be every bit as intense as the fight we're having now to ship these criminal terrorists out of the country.
Guys, and like, who would ever have thought we'd be fighting over shipping out criminal illegals out of the country? Because look at this, guys. I do want to say that Trump has a plan. It's cut. If you cut the spending, you get the investments. That's how you make America the greatest that it can ever be. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up like button. This is what we're talking about. Trump has a meeting with the UAE, and then they commit to 10-year, $1.4 trillion investment framework in the U.S. That is making America great. Bonnie Cadre, welcome to the family. Let's go. And thank you so much, Scott Matthews, for the super chat. He said, Joel, Friday night, baby. Let's go. Hey, having a good time on Friday night. Y'all show Scott and Bonnie some love in the chat. And not only that, guys, we've got where J&J, which I'm pretty sure is, they planned a $55 billion investment to expand U.S. manufacturing. This is all the growth and things that Trump has been talking about. And whenever I tell you, like, look at this. When you see somebody like this guy, Charlemagne, who's literally came out and said, why are folks fighting about Trump deporting gangbanging criminals? Like, this is one of the most left, like, he is Democrat through and through. And he is like, guys, what's wrong with y'all? Because I'm telling you this, guys. There's some big news that's coming out on the Social Security spectrum about Howard Lutnick and what's going to happen with that. And I want you to hear this first because they're talking about moving it. No. People are talking about moving it, trying to get propaganda out there. And Howard Lutnick is saying, nope, not going to happen. Check this out.
Talk about things coming due. One problem for Democrats is their prior statements on things like government efficiency, Taylor, are coming due. Here's Mark Cuban.
As a libertarian, I think we can reduce employment in government by at least a third, reduce the overhead and administration by that much or more, so that we can offer more to services for our citizens. And so if when it comes down to it, where I tend to disagree with everybody, and this is the libertarian in me, I'm happy to push down the size of government, and I'm happy to work on making government more efficient, because then more money can pass through and help the people who need it.
We got a few folks throwing the challenge flag on the libertarianism there, but we'll set that aside. Taylor, he was all in on this stuff until it became politically uncool on the left to do it.
They were all in on Elon Musk. They were all in on Trump before they all turned conservative, right? That is the problem. And Cuban, I mean, where do I even begin? He wants to reduce employment in government by a third. He wants to reduce overhead and administration by that much or more, push down the size of government, make government more efficient. So yes, the goal is to allow things, to Jackie's point earlier, like Social Security, to be healthier in the long run. I can't understand, they just hate Trump and Elon Musk that much. They are actually giving up things that they believe in because the guys on the right are doing it instead of the guys on the left this time. And so they're just giving up and saying, no, we actually just hate the whole thing.
Well, you raise an interesting question, Dig, and maybe you can grapple with this. What do they really believe in? Like, did these guys who used to say, let's cut government, did they ever really believe in that? Or was that sort of like throwing a bone to the country while they continue to spend our money?
You mean a politician or Mark Cuban? I'm not convinced that was Mark Cuban. That looked like it was made of wax.
It was not a humanoid.
Adam Tussauds Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban.
It was an animatronic wax figure.
It was a robot.
Yeah. Because someone like Mark Cuban will say whatever it takes to get somebody to shove a microphone in his face. Politicians will say and do whatever it takes to remain in power and control, because that is their grift, as the reason that they got into this long con in the first place. That's the left. One interesting thing is there was in the new Fox News poll that came out last night, in the views on President Trump's proposals, the reduced government employees, only 46% favored, so it was under 50%. 51% opposed. Like the ones that where you got more than a 50% favorable polling, number one was ban trans, basically ban biological men and women's sports, increase oil drilling. But it was interesting how that was phrased, because it was phrased reduce government employees. And so when you talk about people losing their jobs, I would argue it polls differently than cutting the size of government. But when you phrase it, you start talking about, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal, it came out in February, that where is your money going? Exactly. Of the $2 trillion that we had to borrow last year just to fund the government, there's one company, Booz Allen and Hamilton. Yeah. 98% of its $11 billion in annual revenue comes from the government, comes from the federal government. It's just astonishing that there's an entire ecosystem, and eco meaning economic system, that is around Washington, D.C., that is just suckling at the teat of the federal government. And it's why Washington has gotten, the suburbs of Washington run all the way down to Richmond. Oh, yeah. And they run all the way up to Wilmington, and it's why home prices just skyrocketed, and it was all on the backs of the American taxpayer.
So that's such a good point, but that's what makes this, what we read in the intro, so interesting. They're all complaining because they all want in on the system if they live there. They're all complaining, and I think they all agree, Elon Musk is unlobbyable, Todd. He is actually, all of the tricks you want to play, all the whining and dining, all the money, all the relationships, all the homes.
He doesn't need it.
The guy comes from the outside, and he's impervious to all of it, and it's driving the lobbyists nuts in D.C.
And this all... Guys, and if there's anything that makes me so happy about the point that he made, is that when you're the richest man in the world, you can't be bought. You got all the money that you need. You're fulfilled. You have, SpaceX, you've got Tesla. They're doing amazing things with a Boring company and Starlink. That's why these deep staters hate him so much, because they can't buy him. When you can't be bought, you become just like Trump, where you're able to fight the deep state.
Ties into what Dagan said, because I can remember when I was an intern back in the late 90s. Look, lobbying's been around since the dawn of time. But I remember DC was fine. Like, that was the word, it was fine. You go back there now, to Dagan's point, it has built up in a way that shouldn't happen when you are viewed as something that should be providing public service. DC is a public service city, okay? Boy, they're sure looking rich in public service. And when I read this Politico article with regard to Elon Musk, it ties it all together, because this article was it had a negative view of, we can't lobby anymore. That's not the way it should be, was the implication from this article. No. Lobbying is not a good thing, because lobbying just benefits the people who have enough money, who can then lobby to make even more money. Lobbying does not help the American taxpayer. And so, yes, it's awesome that Elon Musk is unlobbyable, and the sacred cows that he's going after, if you hear the Democrats present it, are the ones that have made money off of this grift now for decades and have led to the big buildings and the building up of D.C. that we see. I don't want D.C. to be poor, but, at least New York's honest about it. We're the money capital.
How long before we start getting articles about how, these poor lobbyist families aren't going to be able to go to Aruba twice this year?
It's coming, Dagan.
Guys, I love it. And that's the truth, guys, because, again, too, remember, money talks. I want to say thank you so much, Scott Matthews, for the super chat. Let's go. Tell your friend George Scott that we appreciate him, man, and to come and be a member. Come join the family. And hey, I've already had my sirloin tonight, and I appreciate it so much, man. That sucker was good. But y'all show Scott some love in the chat. But right here, guys, Maine folds and agrees to comply with President Trump's executive orders to keep transgender athletes out of women's sports. So this is huge. This is just, the money talks. They all want their money eventually, and they're all going to comply eventually. Why? Because we're not talking about $100. We're not talking about $50,000. We're talking about tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars that these people will miss out on And they fought first. They're like, no, we're going to let men be in women's sports. And then they caved. Why? Because money matters. And again, right now, we're in a golden age right now for Trump. He is kicking butt so much when it comes to not only just winning, but bringing money into the United States, where he is essentially upgrading America. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button. And Mr. Norby, if you're watching, I put you a thing to send me a thing to the email, a screenshot of what happens when you try to gift members so that I can give that to YouTube so they can see if they can get that fixed for you. But check this out.
We just got a big upgrade.
I'm thrilled to announce that at my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet. Number sixth generation. Nothing in the world comes even close to it. The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them. And it's not even close. This is a next level. You know, level 5 is good. This is level 6. America's enemies will never see it coming. Hopefully we won't have to use it for that purpose, but you have to have it. And if it ever happens, they won't know what the hell hit them.
Nothing says golden age like new fighter jets. The F-47, Trump says the generals picked the name, but okay. It's been 20 years since the F-22 debut, and Boeing beat out Lockheed for the contract. Here's Hegseth.
Well, Mr. President, this is a big day. This is a big day for our warfighters. This is a big day for our country, a big day in the world. The name of this program is the Next Generation of Air Dominance. And Mr. President, because of your leadership, your clarity, America is going to have generations in the future of air dominance because of this sixth generation fighter. Mr. President, this is a gift to my kids and your kids, to my grandkids and your grandkids. This is a historic investment in the American military, in the American industrial base, in American industry.
New fighter jets. They're for the kids. Engineers are saying the co-pilot will be a robot. Today, Pistol Pete put Musk in the cockpit. Elon was at the Pentagon getting a tour. Trump's co-pilot's Vance. What's up, JD?
Mr. Vice President is here. Do you have anything to say while you're here? He's a very good Vice President.
I'm just here to watch the show, sir. Okay. I think airplanes are pretty cool, so I wanted to check this out.
Vance likes to watch. Who doesn't? There's a lot going on. The UAE just announced a $1.4 trillion investment in American AI. NVIDIA just committed to spending hundreds of billions of dollars on American chip manufacturing. Johnson & Johnson just announced a $55 billion investment in American manufacturing, tech, and R&D. These investments are in response to Trump's tariffs.
Yes.
We've been ripped off by every country in the world, friend and foe. We've been ripped off on trade. We've been ripped off on military. We protect people and they don't do anything for us. Now some of that money is going to be coming back to us in the form of tariffs.
Trump says April 2nd will be Liberation Day. That's when reciprocal tariffs go up. American workers have been held hostage for far too long. Same with actual hostages. George Klezman was captured by the Taliban during the Biden administration and suffered for 2 long years. Today, he came home.
I feel like born again. I have no words, but anyways, I'm in debt with the President Trump. Amazing, you know. Thank God he's in the White House where he's at, and thank God he got me out.
Earlier this week, the astronauts Biden abandoned for 9 months came home too, and they're getting overtime pay.
Let's go.
The 2 astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to get them, to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for them. I like that.
Remember, no tax on overtime. And remember the gold cards Trump's selling for $5 million a pop to foreign nationals who want to become citizens and invest big money here? The gold cards are hot.
Let's go.
Speaking of potentially great ideas, can you tell us about the Trump card?
John Paulson
had a call with Donald Trump and was talking to Donald Trump and was kicking around the idea of we should sell, right? Why do we give away visas? We should sell them. And by the way, yesterday I sold 1,000.
1,000 gold cards at $5 million a pop, that's $5 billion. We don't even really know what to think of the gold cards, but we'll take the money while we think about it. The other night on Primetime, Lutnick told us Elon has something up his sleeve.
He's building the coolest robots you've ever seen. Go online and look up Optimus. It is the coolest thing you've ever seen. We're all going to be buying robots. They're going to cost about $30,000. You're going to be buying a Tesla robot, and anybody who doesn't buy a Tesla robot is going to be silly.
Promises made, promises kept. Elon says robots are coming.
Optimus will be the biggest product of all time by far. Nothing will even be close. I think it'll be 10 times bigger than the next biggest product ever made.
Wow.
Like that level.
Can a robot replace Johnny? We're about to find out. And humans are getting an upgrade too.
I think long term we'll also have enhancement of humans, or optionally if somebody wants to enhance, have cybernetic enhancements, like with Neuralink. If you want to go cybernetic and, I don't know, maybe have super intelligence and be able to see, in different wavelengths. We could absolutely provide superhuman abilities via Neuralink in the future.
So far, it's been working well with monkeys. He sticks a chip in their brain and they can play a video game. But if he can make humans smarter, that's bad news for Democrats. You put a chip in their brain, give them a little common sense. Let's experiment. Elon's Mr. Generosity. He got Kai a Cybertruck.
I'm gonna win. Watch this.
Yeah, that was fast. I don't know.
That was. So Elon got this one for me because they didn't make it at the time. My grandpa got me one. He got me the souped up version. So it's 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, which is insane.
Oh, this is 2.6 seconds?
2.6.
Oh, yeah, then you'd beat me to 0 to 60 for sure.
So my dad's I think his car's 3.2 seconds or whatever. Smoked him.
Elon's building robots, saving astronauts, and saving the government from going bankrupt. Do the Democrats say thank you? No. They call him Adolf.
The American people do not trust Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. He's a thief, he's a Nazi, and people don't trust him, period.
Voters don't trust Fire Marshal. That's why they kicked him out of Congress.
Ooh.
Trump put together a cabinet of the best and brightest. And in less than 100 days, we're getting new fighter jets, trillions invested here, hostages back, pork doged, and the border so secure, Malaysians out of a job. And the Democrats aren't sending their best.
We have to band together. We have to speak out. We have to push back. We have to show courage. The dictator wannabes, this is part of their playbook. And the only way to defeat it is by standing strong and saying, basically, screw you, I won't be intimidated.
Democrats already sound defeated.
This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day. And I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
Schumer's not fighting for Americans. He's not even fighting for policies. He's fighting to lower the president's approval rating. That's one reason why they lost. They're fighting a person instead of fighting for the people.
Boom.
They keep saying, choose your fighter. All right, I'll take Ivanka over Chuck any day. Cities, DEI, Act Blue. Here's the New York Times, quote, Trump and his allies are aggressively attacking the players and machinery that power the left, taking a series of highly partisan official actions that, if successful, will threaten to hobble Democrats' ability to compete in elections for years to come.
Let's go.
Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Why do you think the right's so excited?
I keep thinking, okay,
this is going to be
this is going to change the way folks, they're gleeful. Everybody I know who voted for Trump is gleeful and supportive of everything he's doing.
It's not just Trump voters. Most of the country's gleeful about the direction we're headed in. A new Washington Post poll says 90% of Americans support deporting criminal migrants.
Let's go.
A majority of Americans want every illegal deported, whether they committed a crime once they were here or not. And 60% of you want to shrink the government. The country's cozying up to Trump. And the more Democrats attack him, the stronger he gets.
He never steps back. He just sort of takes it like the centrifuge and then hurls it back at you. And he's been that way always. So this is not new.
This is just who he is.
This is who he is. So those other people who attack him, they think they're attacking him. They're charging his battery. They're literally charging his battery. So he comes back bigger, stronger, bigger, stronger. And once you understand the man, the most intuitive person that you've ever met.
Guys, let's go. Such great news. I love it. And guys, what you're seeing on the screen, this is why it's so important what's happening. I want to say thank you so much, Scott Matthews, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Scott some love in the chat. You're taxed. Somebody put this out and said, you're taxed when you earn, you're taxed when you spend, when you save, when you invest, when you build, when you sell, when you drive, when you eat. Yeah, can't drive a car. You got to pay your taxes. Get them taxed. When you eat, taxes. When you drink, when you die. Oh, yeah, try to pass on your money or anything like that. Got to pay that, what, death tax or somebody pays the inheritance tax? You, when you import goods, when you export goods, when you get married, got to go pay, have that certificate. Marriage certificate, when you travel, when you own, when you transfer, when you employ. Something needs to change. Look at how much the government has just orchestrated our entire lives that we don't even think twice about this, but every single aspect of our lives, we're freaking taxed. And I'm sorry to use French language, guys. Usually don't. But this gets me super upset because this is, they take the money and then they go and they do stupid things with it. Bannon, thank you so much, Donna, for the super chat, who said Bannon's not always right. He doesn't like Elon, who actually has the highest security clearance a person can have, and he's not friends with the CCP. So, yeah, Bannon, he's got a thing with Musk because of the CCP. Now, Musk has made a lot of nice comments about the people of China, not the CCP, but the people of China. And I think that can sometimes be misconstrued as the, being in favor of the CCP. But thank you so much, Donna, for the super chat. Y'all show Donna some love in the chat. But again, too, what's most important is we're moving forward to fight the judges, guys. This is super important. Check this out.
More so than both Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom. Here with reaction, former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, along with the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. Look at this, the dynamic duo. I have no idea who to go to first. I really don't. I have no idea.
You go to Jim. Go to Jim.
Mark's older.
Go to the
Mark's
chairman.
older. Go to him. Mark's older. Oh, wow. That's cold. All right, Mark, we'll start with you. AOC is the leader of the party. Jasmine Crockett's the leader of the party. Chuck, has to now grovel to stay in power. Whether or not he's successful or not, time will tell. I'm okay with AOC leading the party.
Well, obviously, she represents the vast majority of that extreme left wing of the party. Mm-hmm. But the poll that you were talking about, Sean, the interesting thing is, had Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders not been in that poll, it would have been 1 in 4 actually believes that she should lead the party. So is that making Chuck Schumer sweat? Yes, you can't imagine, like a hot day in South Carolina, he's sweating. But the real problem is this is not about personalities, Sean. It's about policy. And the fact is their policies don't work. 77 million people let their voice be heard on that particular subject back in November.
Jim Jordan, I'm getting very nervous now about the actions of the Democratic Party. If they want to hold bingo cards, fine. If they don't want to stand for mothers that lost their children, okay, that's on them. They don't have a soul, in my view, but that's fine. But now that they're going into Republican districts with their talking points, trying to create a hostile atmosphere, now we're talking about danger. Now that you have groups and even congresswomen that are supporting going after Elon Musk the way they are, like Jasmine Crockett did that we showed earlier, that is a frightening scenario.
No, it's scary, and it's not going to help them politically. I mean, when you embrace crazy, you're going to be at a 27% approval rate. I don't care who leads their party. As long as they're embracing these crazy policies, it's going to be a win for us. And I think President Trump probably said it best. It's common sense versus crazy. So go down the list. It is crazy to defund the police. It is crazy not to have a border. It is crazy to have men compete against women in sports. It's crazy to attack Teslas and burn them up, go after dealerships. And maybe the one that is front and center on Americans' minds is what this judge did this past week. It is crazy for an unelected federal district judge to say, turn the plane around, bring back hardened gang member criminals who are here illegally, turn them around, bring those bad guys back to America. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But that is now their party. And if they want to continue to embrace the craziness, we'll keep doing the common sense things that President Trump talks about and is getting done for the American people.
You know, Bill Clinton once said famously, Mark, the era of big government is over, the end of welfare as we know it. He made a pivot. He adapted. I don't see any possibility of that because I think the party is radical left.
Well, it is radical left, and they're not pivoting. In fact, they're doubling down. You mentioned Bernie and AOC out in Nevada today. You know, what was their big call out? It was on Elon Musk. Now, here is Elon Musk, who has put more electric vehicles on American roads by an American manufacturer than anybody, and yet they see him as the evil one. I can tell you it's hypocrisy at its highest level, but I can also say this. Don't underestimate AOC. Joe Crowley did that back in 2018. He was supposed to be Speaker of the House, and he found himself on the outside looking in. And so we need, as Jim was saying, we need to continue to be the common sense party against the crazy.
I guess climate's no longer the existential threat. Elon Musk is, Jim Jordan? I guess that's their thought.
Yeah, because it's all about power. It's all about power for the left. It's not really about policy. It's about control. Take this Department of Education. I mean, think about it, Sean. The average salary at the Department of Education is $144,000. The average teacher salary is probably $50,000, $60,000. Who has a bigger impact on the kid? The person in the classroom with them, that teacher every day, or some bureaucrat in D.C.? So the president is common sense policy on this issue as well. Common sense beats crazy every single time.
Let's go. And guys, I just thank God because, again, too, we're seeing it. You want to see crazy? Look at this. So this was on a subway. This lady cannot stand that and trying to tell this dude to take off his MAGA hat. Look what happens. Because this lady, you can see right here, the guy on the left has the MAGA hat. And she's telling him, take it off, take it off. He's like, dude, I can wear whatever the heck I want to wear. And then she tries to forcefully take it off. Look what happens next. And guys, totally wipes out. This is blowing up on X because it's, again, too, stop trying to control people. Let people do what the heck they want to do. Like, this just blows my mind that people think that they have the right. If somebody wants to wear something, let them wear it. And I also want to show you something else, too, because this comes from Michael Knowles. Receipts matter, everybody. Receipts matter. Look at the average cost of tuition from the time that the Department of Education was founded. Look what's happened to it. Exponentially increased. Why? Bureaucrats. Administration. It was literally on a downward trend for college cost. And now we have over $1.4 trillion in college debt because of this. That's why Trump dismantled the Department of Education. Too much corruption, wasteful money, and this is the receipts and this is the fact. Look at the bottom from the National Center for Education Statistics. The numbers don't lie. Want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, to all of our subscribers. Guys, appreciate you so much. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, we love you guys. We're so excited for tomorrow as our big day of giving. Usually it's always going to be on the 22nd of every single month. But I want to say thank you to everybody who supports our channel through being a member and through the super chat donations. Guys, we're so grateful for your support. Want to give some love to Sherry Garcia, Bonnie Codray, Scott Matthews, Donna. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Guys, we're going to be giving some big money away tomorrow to a charity called Boys Ranch. And what this does is they take young boys between the ages of 12 and 17 that don't have anybody, and they're in troubled homes or they're in the foster care system. They put them on this ranch and they teach them how to be men. And this is what we need more of. We need to help these kids out, that it's not by their choice that they're born into these horrible situations. And that's why we're donating to this charity. Just want to say thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your support and sharing these videos and liking them. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.